and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Sophie and I would love it if you click that big red subscribe button down below and turn on that notification bell as well so that you never miss a video. Now, if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, you probably know that I studied German, Spanish and French at Bangor University. I studied at Bangor University for 4 years and I literally just had my final exam today, so I've literally just finished today, so I thought what better time than ever to talk about my experience here at Bangor University, because I receive a lot of questions for you all about Bangor University on my Instagram and on my YouTube, and often I'm just writing the same replies, and I just felt like if I had one video then I'll be able to like direct people when you message me on Instagram to this video and use the timestamps for them to then be able to like skip to the part of the video that they, you know, that they are actually interested in, and then still if they have more questions they can ask me rather than me typing out the same thing to everybody again and again. And also maybe I could help some of you out who maybe don't know who I am, who have just clicked on this video because you were searching for information about Bangor University, so you know, it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I asked you all on Instagram if you had any particular questions that you wanted me to answer. It's not like a Q&A or anything, because you know, some of the stuff nobody asked me about, but I've just decided to speak about it because I feel like, you know, it's the type of thing that I would have wanted to know before coming to the university, or it's something that someone has asked me in the past, so I was like, well, I will include that, because although no one asked me on Instagram about it when I put up the little Q&A box, you know, I've had to answer it multiple times in the past, so yes, without further ado, let's get on with the video. So I thought I would start by talking about Freshers Week, seeing as it is the first ever week of university, and well, every new year of university, and also just because I always get questions about the nightlife in Bangor, because a lot of you think that because Bangor is a tiny, well, it's a city, but you know, it's more like the size of a town, it doesn't have any nightlife, and some of you put off going to Bangor Uni for that reason, but it is a student, you know, a student city. It does have nightlife to some extent. It's not got as many clubs as, say, London or Manchester or Liverpool or, you know, Birmingham, bigger cities. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have a nightlife, and that doesn't mean you should not go to Bangor for that reason. So yeah, I really want to talk about the nightlife and talk about Freshers Week as well, and also just clarify that you can go to Freshers Week every year, because I think like before I started researching into universities I'd heard about Freshers Week and I thought it was literally just something that you went to like in your first year of university. I didn't realise that literally students of all, like, you know, in all years of their degree go to Freshers Week. Obviously it's more important when you're first starting because you need to make friends, and also during the Freshers Week your course will probably like put on some sort of events, which like I didn't really realise right away, and then I was like, oh, I have all these events going on, so it was like crazy. I was like going out at night and then waking up absolutely tired to go into university. Like I thought I was just gonna be going out at night and that was it, but no, like I was doing things during the day, so there's that to bear in mind. And yeah, I do find a lot of, I think most people do come back for Freshers Week in second and third year and fourth year and masters, and so, you know, I felt like it's just nice too. There's a good vibe going on. I know I really enjoyed being here for Freshers Week this year, even though I did have an exam in Freshers Week this year, so I didn't get to fully like enjoy it because I had to set some time aside obviously to work on my exam. But yeah, like Freshers Week is so fun, but just bear in mind that you will like spend a lot of money in Freshers Week because, you know, you are all going crazy and you're making the most of it, and you're going out pretty much every night. Well, it depends, obviously not every student goes out pretty much every night in Freshers Week. It depends on, you know, whether you like going out, whether you like drinking and all of those things, but you know, if you are going to be going out pretty much every night, that's not something that you're going to do throughout your degree, so you will be spending a bit more money. Yeah, so there's that to bear in mind. But also, yeah, nightlife. There is nightlife in Bangor. So yeah, like I said earlier, it's not, you know, there's not as many different places to go as there are in big cities, which is natural. Like obviously that's going to be the case, but there still are 2 nightclubs, and there still are bars, and a lot of good bars as well. So there's the Locals nightclub, which is called Cube. We call it the Locals nightclub because there's actually 2, and the other one is the student nightclub, but it doesn't mean that students don't go there. Students do go there. But it's just like open to everybody, you know. So yeah, there's that one, which is called Cube, and I don't want to say which nights it's open because the nights that it's open have changed throughout the course of my degree, so I don't want to say like which nights it's open and then someone watches this 2 years in 2 years time from now and it's like not or I get the nights wrong, because I haven't been there at all this semester yet, which is crazy. I'm going tomorrow though, to celebrate my exams being over, as you would. Yeah, just I feel like final year I haven't gone out as much, just purely because of time, and also not wanting to get sick because I feel like my immune system is very weak. Like I'm going off on a tandem here, but basically when I went out those first semester, I think because I hadn't been out much because of like the pandemic beforehand, my immune system was like what, and I kept getting ill, and I never got the, you know, the virus as far as I'm aware, because I did test, but I kept getting very ill. And I've gone off on a tangent, right, I need to stop. But yeah, as well as that, there's a student nightclub, which is, well, what do I need to say about it? It's a student nightclub. But what I really need to say is that people go to different nightclubs on different nights. So again, I don't want to say when the student nightclub's open, because like in my first year it used to be open on Fridays sometimes, not all the times, but like this year it hasn't been open on Fridays at all, but it used to be for like special events. But I mean, there are some nights where I know that club will always stay open. Like Wednesday is the sports night, it's AU night, everybody goes to Academy. Cube did used to be open on that night, but it used to be dead because everybody would go to Academy, so I think that's why it's shut. They also have cheese, well, on Monday nights, at least at the moment they have cheese, which is super fun. And yeah, Academy is the only place you can go to on a Monday. Nowhere is open on a Tuesday. Academy is open on a Wednesday. Cube's open on a Friday. Nowhere's open on a Thursday. Although again, like that has changed. And in Freshers Week, everywhere's open like non-stop. But yeah, I think, you know, stuff has been open on a Thursday before, but yeah. And then on Saturday, both Cube and Academy are open. And we always call, I don't know what it's like now because I don't really go out much, but we used to call Saturday Locals Night, and it used to be mostly the locals in Cube, but students would still go out. But I personally didn't like the vibe as much on a Saturday as I did on a Friday, because I swear it was always Saturday nights where I ended up witnessing fights. And also the club just stayed open later on a Saturday and I couldn't manage to make it to closing. Oh god, I sound like a grandma. But yeah, and obviously nowhere's open on a Sunday. But then you've got pubs that are open all the time, and there is a pub with a dance floor, and you know, lots of societies have their pub crawls and stuff, so there is a nightlife. And yes, I know the nightclubs aren't open every night, but realistically, are you going to go out every night anyway? So it's probably good that they're not open every night, because you'll probably find that you find a particular night that you like going to certain clubs, and then you can kind of, you know, it makes it easier to plan out your work, because I know you're not going to go out every week anyway, but sometimes you might get persuaded to go out at the last minute, but you know there's going to be like some days where no one can persuade you to go out at the last minute because nowhere's open. So, well, they could persuade you to go to a pub. I really have gone off, like I really am rambling on here, aren't I? I feel like this video is going to be so long, so I'm going to stop talking about the clubs and stuff. Oh no, but I did really want to say that because Bangor is quite small. When you do go to the clubs, sometimes it does feel like a bit of a... I was going to describe it as a big school disco, but that makes it sound really bad. But like you bump into people you know, and like you make friends at the student nightclub. You bump into people you know. You make friends. I feel like I haven't so much this year because I haven't gone out so much this year, and having taken a year abroad and then not getting involved in societies and stuff this much this year, just because I was a lot busier this year. I don't really know as many people in Bangor now, but like first and second year I couldn't go out without bumping into people, and I just really liked that. I found that really fun. yeah, it depends who you bump into though, if it's someone you want to bump into or not, but I really liked it. Anyway, off to the next point. So next I'm going to talk about the university campus, because one of you asked me about university architecture, and I'm sorry if you're the person who asked me, but I'm not entirely sure what you meant by that, like whether you wanted me to put some pictures of the university buildings up. Like, I can do that if you want, but yeah, I'm going to just talk about the university campus because I feel like people will generally be interested in what the campus is like. So there are a few different buildings in Bangor, and you know, most of them are quite near each other, but there are some which are a bit further out, which I haven't had to go to because honestly it depends on what you study as a course. But like, I know there is a site called Normal Site, which is a bit further out. I think is it people that do like sports and stuff that go there. And I know like people who did, I had friends in first year who were doing marine biology, and sometimes they would have to go over to Anglesey, so they weren't even in Bangor. I don't know which building it was, what it was called over there they would go to, or maybe that was Normal Site. But I don't think Normal Site is in Anglesey. I think it's just near the Midnight Bridge. I'm not entirely sure because I literally just go to Main Arts, and I've been to Alan building, which is where Management Centre is, which is a hotel that people can, like parents can stay in when they're visiting the university and stuff, and Pontio, and that's it. But yeah, Main Arts is the main university building, so I thought like you will all go to this building at some point regardless of what you're studying, because it's where the reception is. But I think they're moving the reception, and I'm not entirely sure where to. I'm assuming it's still going to be in Main Arts, but I don't know. But every time I've walked past it, it just looks closed recently, so I don't know what's going on there. But like, it's Main Arts, it's the main building, it's in the name, it's where PJ Hall is, which is where you will graduate, and it's where like you have welcome talks, and there's just lots of events that go on there, like careers fairs and stuff. So like you will go to PJ Hall at some point. It's a really nice hall. And yeah, Main Arts is just a really nice pretty building, which you can actually see from my accommodation in IQ, but I won't talk about that right now because I'm talking about accommodation later. And then Pontio is this building which we actually kind of like share with the public, so it's like a university building, but it's called Pontio because they say, I'm not, you know, I don't speak Welsh, but from what I remember, I'm pretty sure someone told me it's like bridge in Welsh, or at least similar to the word for bridge in Welsh, and so it's meant to be the bridge between like the university and the city. And like the top floor is just for students only. You have to like scan your student card in the lift to get up there, and that's like a study space. But like the bottom floor, there's a cinema, which is obviously open to the public. They have events going on there, and like there are lecture theatres in Pontio as well, and it's where the students' union is. Went there recently for like a canine calming day, and they were giving out free ice cream, and there's like cafes in there. So Pontio is just a really nice building that again you will definitely go to at some point, like even if it's just to take the lift up from Lower Bangor to Upper Bangor, because you can't be bothered to walk up the hill, which I want to say the name of, but like I don't want to get demonetized for saying the name of that the students have given this hill. So yeah. And yeah, there's like a few other buildings, like a business building and stuff, which the music building again is kind of near Main Arts. I don't really know what they're all called. Some of them are near Main Arts. I'm not going to talk about them all because I'll just go on for so long. But yeah, like bear in mind that you might be in a few different buildings, or like the linguistics building. Completely forgot about the linguistics building, but I had French there and German there this year. I've had a lot of lectures there this year, so I should know which building it is. And next I thought I'll talk about accommodation, because I feel like if you've never come to Bangor before, like you're just going to start in Bangor, then of course you're going to be interested in accommodation, like who isn't? Of course most people when they come to university for the first time, they do decide to stay in halls. It's just easier because you're not here to look around places, and like all first years anyway pretty much stay in halls, so it's really easy to meet each other, to meet other people. But yeah, so there's two main sites. There's Frithwaite Village, which we all just call Frith, and there's St Mary's Village. I have never lived on St Mary's Village, so I can't talk too much about it, but basically in general the accommodation up there is more expensive than Frith. There's a few different buildings and different prices for different rooms, but like in general it's more expensive. But in general you'll have a double bed, which you don't get in Frith, but you have to go up the top of this big hill which no one tells you about until you come here, and I feel like a lot of people get put off by the hill, which I understand, because although I've never lived there, I have gone up there for like certain events or to see friends, and I feel like the hill can be dangerous when the weather is bad, because even just like a little bit, the floor was just a little bit wet from the rain once, and I slipped, and luckily like I didn't fully slip over and like land on my bum or anything, but like I could have, you know, I could have hurt myself had I not stopped myself from falling to the floor. And I always think, what would that be like in the winter when it's icy? I feel like I just wouldn't, you know, I just wouldn't come out for like, wouldn't go to lectures as soon as it gets icy. I would just stay indoors. So that's not, you know, convenient for that sense, but a lot of people like it up there. And then there's Frith Village, where I stayed in my first year. I do have a video about it, I will link it here. It's not where I'm staying now, I will talk about where I'm staying now in a minute. But Frith Village, yes, the newer, I think pretty much all the accommodation in Frith is single bed. They have some accommodation with shared bathrooms, some with private. I stayed in the newer buildings with like ensuite, and I mean, I liked it whilst I was there. Obviously halls are quite expensive, and there is that to bear in mind, but like everyone stays there in first year. I had then stayed there again in my second year, just because I was only going to be in Bangor for a semester due to a semester abroad in Germany, which never took place because it was in 2020, early 2020, April 2020 to be correct. To be precise. I can't speak English today, clearly. Like, clearly my brain is just not functioning because I had my final French exam earlier today. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, and I was abroad for my third year, so I didn't stay there. But then coming back from a year abroad, like obviously a lot of people then they stay in houses after their first year, once they've met people and know where to, you know, they've met people there who they want to live with, because houses are generally a lot cheaper. And a good thing about a house as well is generally you're going to have like a laundry, like a washing machine that you're not going to have to pay to use in Frith. In halls, you always have to pay to use the laundry room, and that's like the thing I hate the most about them, because I feel like it just makes doing laundry so expensive. Like, oh, I only do a load a week. So I'm just like trying to like statistically plan out what I'm gonna wear each week, unless I'm really desperate, because I don't want to pay, like, if I'm doing my laundry and my drying, that's £5, but like it adds up. But anyway, rambling on, this year I'm staying in IQ, which is private halls, because it was just easier because I wasn't in Bangor because of studying abroad, to look around and meet landlords, and it's actually cheaper to live in IQ, at least at the time I was looking, it was cheaper to live in IQ than halls, and I was getting a double bed. It's perfect, like perfect location. They have IQs in other cities as well, in case you don't end up going to Bangor and want to take a look. It's definitely worth taking a look. I will say, if you do book IQ, you can give me a message, because there is like a cashback code, and I don't want to put it in the description because I put it in the description box of one of my videos, and then they changed the cashback code, and then I learned that I actually also have to give people my like IQ ID number to actually be able to get the cashback code, and obviously I hadn't put that on the video. So yeah, if you're interested, like drop me a message on Instagram, because you'll get cashback, I'll get cashback as well, but obviously like that's only if you're interested. And I do have a whole video about the IQ accommodation in Bangor, which you can see here, and they also have studios available, but I'm not living in a studio. Speaking of accommodation as well, someone asked me what it's like living with 7 other people. Now, it's been a while since I lived with 7 other people, because I currently live with 4 other people, but first year I lived with 7 other people, and obviously it was like strangers as well, so like it was completely different to this year, where like, yeah, I'm living with people, but I knew them all beforehand. And like, you know, you move in halls, you don't know what these people are going to be like, whether they're going to be clean, because some people don't do their washing up and some people don't clean. My flat in Lyon was absolutely disgusting, because no one would ever clean, and people just had people were cutting raw fish on the drainer and just leaving fish guts there. Like, what? Why? Like, I get there's like a messy kitchen, but that was just too extreme. But anyway, I am going off on a tangent. I found living with 7 other people fine, especially in fashion, because a lot of my flatmates didn't cook, or if they did cook, they kept it at different times. Like there was one girl who was from France, so she generally, the south of France, so she generally ate later than the rest of us, because they do that in the south of France. And she would always cook, but it would always be later. But then it would always make me hungry after dinner, because I could like smell what she was cooking from my room, and it always smelled really good. But I found, yeah, because like no one else really cooks, I didn't have that like issue with the space. In there's a cleaner on Frith as well, so you have that. And yeah, like obviously it's going to depend from like flat to flat. I didn't have any issues with anyone who I lived with, but I will say that like since then, people who I have lived with have fallen out with each other. So like some people lived with each other afterwards, and then I didn't live with them afterwards because I was gonna go, they got a year contract in the place and I needed a shorter contract, and then like I don't really know fully what happened, and I'm not going to talk about it because it has absolutely nothing to do with me, for one, and obviously you're not going to care, and I only know different people's like sides of the stories. I don't really know what really happened, but yeah, I know there was some drama with people within my flat, but like after we had all left, and some of them were living together elsewhere, and I wasn't, so it was fine for me. And this year it's completely fine, and I mean you can do it. I lived with 30 people in the I think I counted, there was 30 rooms on my floor, and it was just one kitchen to one floor, so that was fun. And someone also asked if I like my roommates, and I'm gonna say yes. I say flatmates because they're not roommates, because I don't share a room with them, and yes, I do like them, and I knew them all before I lived with them, and I liked them all then, and I still like them all now. So next I want to talk about clubs and societies, because these are super fun, and I really recommend you take part in at least one when you're at university. Now I'm gonna say that depends on where you go to study, because unfortunately, like here in Bangor it's fine, but if you go to some other places, you might not be able to afford it, because many other universities, I don't know which ones exactly, but many other universities make you pay to join societies and sport clubs. We're here at Bangor, they are free, which is great, especially as you might not know if you're going to enjoy something before you try it, so it kind of gives you that freedom to kind of play around with stuff and see whether or not you like them. So like you could literally take up a new hobby and try it, and then if you don't like it, you're not gonna, you haven't wasted your money if you just stop going to that society. But then at the same time you could try it and it could be like the best thing ever. So it's definitely worth it, and I say like definitely sign up to more things in Freshers Week than you're planning on doing, just so that you can actually see like what you like, go to the taster sessions of like quite a few different things, see which ones you like the most, and then try and dedicate more time to those. Yeah, that's what I would say. And definitely do make the most of the societies in first year, because obviously first year you don't have as much stress. Like I'm not saying you're not going to be able to join societies in a second and third or fourth year, like it is possible, but I just feel like because you have less stress in first year, you are able to maybe try out more things then. It's better to try out more different ones then than like in second and third year, where I feel like it's nicer just to like stick to something that you like, or a few things that you like. But yeah, definitely make the most of those. Bangor has a lot of interesting ones because we have a lot that involve like going out and being in nature, because obviously we are right near nature. We are near the Isle of Anglesey, we are near Snowdonia National Park, as well as the beaches in Anglesey. There's nice beaches in North Wales, along North Wales as well. So yeah, I joined the Mountain Walking Society in my first year, and I joined the Languages Society, and honestly I so wish that I had joined more. I did join canoeing this year, but I didn't really last at that because they didn't do many lake trips and I was too scared to go on the river trips, and then every time they did a lake trip I think I ended up not going, and then this semester my flatmates stopped going and I stopped going. I also, yeah, Canoeing was fun. I feel like I would have enjoyed it more in first year. I wish I'd done stand-up paddleboarding instead though, because then I saw on Instagram afterwards that they were always going on Clanbarris Lake paddleboarding, but I think I thought I couldn't do it and canoeing would be more interesting. And canoeing seemed fun, but they were just doing river trips, and a lot of the river trips had little rapids and stuff, and I just didn't feel like, I'm not really an adrenaline person. Like, I just wanted to like do some exercise while seeing some pretty places. Like, I just wanted to go on a kayak along Clanbarris Lake or along the Menai Strait. I literally see people doing it on the Menai Strait all the time. So that would have been fun. I should have done stand-up paddleboarding instead, but it's too late now. So if you want to do something fun on the lake, try stand-up paddleboarding. But definitely get involved in societies, and if you find something that you really like, it could be worth joining the committee, applying to be on the committee for that in your second, third year, fourth year, whatever, because obviously that's something extracurricular that you've done throughout the university that you can then add to your CV or your LinkedIn like profile, whatever, just so that you've done something other than just turn up to lectures and submit some assignments. Like, yeah. Oh, and someone asked me, I was literally about to stop this clip, but then I remembered, someone asked me, would you have time? Is there time to join more than one society? And yes and no. And I say that because it all depends on like what you're studying, how much time you have, how much time you choose to dedicate towards your studies, and like how often you plan to go to each society. Because just because you go to a society doesn't mean you have to go to it every week. Obviously that's depending on what the society is. If it's a sports club and you're in the team, it's going to be a lot more strict. If it's something like drama and they're planning for a play, preparing for a play, and you have like you have a role and they've got rehearsals all the time, then obviously that's going to have to be a lot more strict. But like something like mountain walking, you can kind of just join as and when you want to, unless of course you're on the committee, which again is where I feel like this plays a bigger role, because I feel like if I wasn't on the committee for Langsort this year, maybe I would have tried more things. But I was just like so stressed with it being my final year, especially first semester was very busy for me. I had a lot of deadlines and stuff that I feel like with then organising Langsort events, not just turning up and then have some of them having to go just because I was the only first aider available, and like, yeah, I didn't always have time to join other societies, but yeah, it's possible to join more than one society, do not worry. Thought I would also talk about the financial side of studying at Bangor University, because obviously going to university is quite expensive, and I thought I'd also talk about like finding part-time work because obviously that can help with the financial side of things. And people have asked me about like how easy it would be to get like a job in a shop or something in Bangor before, and I will just say, like, if I'm starting with part-time work, that there are part-time jobs in Bangor available, but you have to remember as well that Bangor is a small city, and like many small cities, the high street is dying. So if you want a job in a shop, it's not impossible, but like there's not going to be, you know, that many jobs in shops outside of like supermarkets. But of course there is also fast food. We have a Domino's, we have a McDonald's. I know people to work at Domino's, I know people to work at McDonald's. And that being said, a lot of students work in the student bar, which is actually over in Thriftway Village, which I forgot to mention earlier, and a lot of students work in the nightclub academy. There are other bars around which students work in. I know people who have work in hotels, both in Bangor and just like over in like Anglesey, like somewhere on Menai, and you know, you can work in other places nearby as well, obviously depending on, you know, even if you don't drive, you can work, it depends on the hours, because buses and stuff, but yeah, like you could get a bus to like Carnarvon and work somewhere in Carnarvon, for example, if you were really struggling to find a job in Bangor. But that's to bear in mind. And sometimes the university offers like certain paid internships and stuff to students, and that's to bear in mind. And I have got paid just for like one-off things working at the university, just for working at open days here and there, so there will be like opportunities to earn money. But like I said, don't assume that you'll be like working in a shop, because there's not so many shops. And something to bear in mind is that not all places, but some places might want you to speak Welsh, and even if you don't, like if you're working in a shop, you could have someone come and speak to you in Welsh. Like I know a girl who was working in Pandora in first year, and she said people come in all the time and speak to her in Welsh, and she'd have to be like, sorry, I don't speak Welsh. So there's that to bear in mind. Obviously, like people do speak English as well. I've never come across a person, a Welsh speaker, who hasn't been able to speak English, but obviously some places might still want to hire Welsh speakers because it's just nice for, you know, the Welsh community to know that they're able, like Welsh speaking community to know they're able to like speak to someone in Welsh in Wales. Like makes sense. Guys, I just spoke loads about finding a part-time job in Bangor but didn't talk about the financial side of Bangor. I believe Bangor is one of the cheaper university cities just because it is quite small. It's cheaper to live here generally than a lot of other cities. Obviously it's a UK based university. It's not going to be cheap to live here compared to like some studying in some other cities in some other countries in the world, but yeah, like it's one of the cheaper ones in the UK, so yeah. But you still obviously have to budget because it's a university, it's expensive, and you're a student, you're not gonna have much money. And lastly, I want to talk about things to do in Bangor, because similarly to when I was talking about nightlife in Bangor and I was saying that people, you know, don't think there's much nightlife in Bangor because it's small, I feel like it's the same with things to do. People don't think there is much to do here. I would say there definitely is a lot more to do here in the summer months, because and spring as well, but just because like a lot of what there is to do in Bangor is outdoors, and I feel like whenever I have people come and visit me in Bangor, I always take them somewhere in either Anglesey or somewhere else in Bangor. Like you take them to another cute seaside town or something nearby, obviously depending on what the person visiting you likes to do. But yeah, like there's so much to do because you're near Snowdonia National Park. There's loads of castles nearby to explore. You're obviously near beaches and Anglesey. There's so many like nice walks you can go on. But obviously they are all like things you want to do when there's nice weather. We don't really have much in it to do in Bangor when the weather isn't good, other than to like go to a cafe and get a coffee, or go out for food, or go to a bar, or go on a night out. Like I said, we do have the cinema in Pontio and like plays on and stuff in Pontio, but I feel like because it is it's a smaller cinema, so I've only been to the cinema once to watch some German film, but I believe that sometimes like films won't immediately come out in the cinema in Bangor from what I heard, because at least I think I remember when there was a film coming out like in my second year, a big film that everyone wanted to see, probably one of the Avengers ones, I don't know. I just remember like I think it came out elsewhere first, because I remembered a lot of people getting like the train to Llandudno Junction to go into what's the cinema there. I believe there's also a bowling alley in Llandudno Junction, and that is like 20 minutes from Bangor on the train, but don't get confused with Llandudno Junction and Llandudno. Llandudno Junction is like quite a bit far from Llandudno itself. I don't know how quickly you can walk there, but I thought you wouldn't want to walk from Llandudno Junction to Llandudno. The train to Llandudno doesn't go direct from Bangor, you have to change at Llandudno Junction, but there are direct buses for Llandudno if you're interested in going to Llandudno to, I don't know, go enjoy the arcades on the pier, or go for some shopping, because go to Primark, because there's no Primark in Bangor. This is what I mean when I say there's not many shop jobs. If you're thinking of getting shop jobs, we don't even have a Primark. So yeah, but anyway, that's it for this video. I hope that you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a big like, it really helps me out, and please subscribe to my channel as well, and follow me on Instagram and TikTok and all that lovely stuff, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye! I just need to tell you.